Scotty Nell Hughes is with us. Yes. I have that right?
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Hey, you're really good at this talk radio.
I can read a name.
Well, that's a lot more than a lot of other people in media can do sometimes.
Scotty is the director and chief journalist at the Tea Party News Network. And the website for that is finance.townhall.com. Do I have that right?
That's my town hall column, but I'm also tpnn.com is for town.
tpnn.com.
Tea Party News Network.
There you go. And Twitter at Scotty N. Hughes?
I'm making this really difficult, aren't I? I'm a typical Republican. I make things more complicated than what they should be.
No, it's all kinds of cool stuff. Well, you said typical Republican. Tea Party and Republican don't seem to be mixing really well in some areas. I got John McCain on the floor of the Senate railing about the Tea Party. What's going on?
Yes, and that's why we lost in November. And until the Republicans learn to play nice in the sandbox and get along, a.k.a. play like the conservatives want them to, we're going to continue to lose. And that's the message we're sending today, I think, with this conference.
So the message is our way or the highway to the Republican Party.
We're never going to win. For some reason, someone in the Republican Party kept telling us that we needed moderates. They gave us McCain. They gave us Romney. Go back to Bob Dole. For some reason, the way we need to elect people is with zeros in the bank account.
Bush Sr. was a moderate.
Bush Sr. And
Bush Jr. didn't really run as a conservative. I mean, he ran on immigration reform.
He started off.
He ran on strong social safety net. I mean, he didn't want to privatize Social Security until his second term.
Well, of course, a lot of things happened in the second term, and I think that's something that the Democrats are learning right now. But that the second term is always a whole different picture than the first term.
But isn't the big message that the Republicans are saying to you folks in the Tea Party, Barry Goldwater?
What the Republicans are saying in the Tea Party, actually, I'm finding that I think there's more of a minority in the Republican Party that have agreed to have been the louder, squeaky wheel that have pushed these moderates on us.
Right.
In reality, you look at the success back in the fall, Chick-fil-A. You look at the passion that came out after the filibuster with Rand Paul, the only bipartisan effort I've seen truly in Washington, D.C. in years. People want to get excited. Republicans want to get excited about something.
Well, Rand Paul was on the right side of that issue. I mean, I did an op-ed supporting him, even though we all acknowledge it was a stunt. But good on him. I mean, politics is half theater. It was brilliant. How do progressives get the Democratic Party to do what you arguably hard-right conservatives, for lack of a better, or Tea Party conservatives have gotten the Republican Party to do? How did you do this to the Republican Party?
Well, we didn't do it to the Republican Party. The problem is the Republican Party, the reason why we lost is because they sat there and they gave us a moderate and nobody wanted to go out. The true Republicans in this country are conservative, strict constitutionalists, and want the government to stay out of their homes and out of their cities.
No more Social Security, no more Medicare. Get rid of all that stuff.
Not necessarily get rid of it, but the problem is we need to make sure that we reform it. Republicans
turn it over to a private corporation so they can make a buck on it.
Hey, I'm a capitalist, so I agree on any of those sorts of things. But let me say this. One thing that the Democrats do wonderful that I think the Republicans need to learn a lesson of, you very rarely hear of Democrats squabbling. And it's almost, you hear of a little here and there. Nowhere to the scale that we're hearing of the Republicans today.
Right.
For my side, bad for you, good for me. It's not an election year, number one. Number two, we are going to get this worked out. And number three, hopefully we don't take too much carnage of good conservatives like we did in our primary in our wake of all of this.
Well, the Progressive Caucus, we had Raul Grijalva on the radio show yesterday and Keith Ellison on our TV show. They released they call it the back to work budget. I mean, it's an actual budget. It pretty much balances the budget within 10 years, just like Paul Ryan's, instead of having and then Congress has to figure out what to cut, and then Congress has to figure out what to raise. There's all those holes in Paul Ryan's budget. This actually disclosed everything, but the Democratic Party is largely ignoring it.
And that makes you wonder. So there is a little bit of issues in the Democrat, but you guys are doing a much better job of hiding it. Maybe it helps that you've got most of the media on your side, so they're not going to promote that.
I don't think we're hiding it. I just don't think it's happening.
Well, let me just say this. Being at both conventions, if I was to sit here and find another Republican female out here and we publicly got in a fight, immediately be out on all media, cat fight at the CPAC, Republican women gone wild, whatever comments that would be said.
Right.
Not going to happen to the Democratic Party. They would just go unnoticed. It would go
the Democratic Party, by and large, doesn't get covered.
Well, I think that's the exact opposite.
Democrats are holding press conferences constantly talking about the issues that are important to them. We have a jobs crisis, not a budget crisis, for example. Nobody shows up.
Yeah, but maybe those are embarrassing, boring press conferences that are like, if I put this on air, you guys are going to start losing votes.
Okay, so you're saying the Democratic Party has to learn how to do better theater.
They have done a much better job of it, just like they've done Are you ready for me to get you angry? Get your listeners
Try.
angry? They've done a much better job of figuring out how to buy off votes, and that's with entitlements. The Republicans will never win as long as we're not able to sit there and buy off votes through our welfare system.
You know, Jude Wieniski, I think, nailed it back in 1976 when he said that the Democratic Party has been the party of Santa Claus forever. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment benefits, 40-hour work week, vacation time, paid time and a half, workplace safety rules, all this. The Democratic Party has been the party of Santa Claus, and the Republican Party has always been the party of Scrooge. They've said no to absolutely everything. And he said the Republican Party has to become a party of Santa Claus. We have to find our own Santa Claus. And the Santa Claus that he suggested was tax cuts, which was in 76 a radical idea. Barry Goldwater was not in favor of tax cuts. He was in favor of raising taxes as part of a package to balance the budget in the election in 1960, whatever it was, 64. And
he's like a human Google. No wonder why you guys listen to him. You're so popular. You are truly a human Google. Keep going. I'm getting a history lesson. This is great.
No, but it's true. I mean, I was 13 years old. I walked door to door with my dad on behalf of Barry Goldwater, so I know what his positions were. So, but the point is that the Republican parties, their Santa Claus is now tax cuts. The Democratic Party's Santa Claus is all this other stuff. And Barack Obama's coming along and he's saying, I'll shoot my Santa if you shoot your Santa. I don't think it's going to happen, do you?
No, of course not, because it doesn't help us. First of all, the fact that if Republicans do have any sort of Santa Claus, that's not what we need to be doing here, and that's not going to bridge any gap. Whether it be tax cuts, yes. For the problem with some of the tax cuts, while they say they're tax cuts for the wealthy, it wasn't tax cuts for the wealthy. It was tax cuts, honestly, on the middle class.
No, if you're going to be a real Santa Claus, you got to give tax cuts to everybody.
Exactly. I mean, Santa doesn't pick and choose who he gives tax cuts to, and that's where the success of the Democratic Party is. However, once again, the Republicans are going to have to learn this message. We're going to have to find a way for Karl Rove, Grover Norquist, and the leaders of the Tea Party to sit down at a table and say, okay, guys, what are we going to do?
Right, yeah. And good luck on that, Scotty Nell Hughes.
I have faith.
Indeed.
Just like I agree that we got along on this radio show.
There you go. And your website, once again, Scotty?
TPNN.com or townhall.com.
There you go. Scotty Nell Hughes. Thank you so much, Scotty. Great talking with you.